Hey, Laura. Good morning, everybody. Or good night if you're on the other part of the world. Wanted to pop on a quick little, well, yeah, it'll be like an hour or less. A little live stream just to record some stuff and catch up with everybody. Hope you're all doing well. We are recording Glitch in the Matrix Stories. Surprise, surprise. Angel's here. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I left my tea in the other room. I'll be right back. I might do some other stuff too. I got some lines from some other people that need me to get back to them. But we'll see. We'll see. Laura, what part of the world are you from? Man, it feels early for you to be up. All right. Well, let me get everything pulled up here and we'll kick it. We'll kick it. We're going to get Beastie Boys up in here. Just going to take a second to clean up my story log so I know what the heck I'm doing tonight or this morning. Oh, Oxford, UK? Cool. Cool. Well, thanks for listening from the UK, man. That's crazy. It's lunchtime? Sweet. Excuse me. Well, eat a good lunch for me. It'll be lunchtime for me in 6 or 7 hours. Yeah, what you got? What are we lunching on? Australia's here. Ola from Australia. Thanks, okay. Well, let me start with this one here. It was sent to me in a DM, so it's gonna be a little hard to read, I think, but let's just see how far we get. Okay, am I on here? Yes. Okay. Baba Booey, just doing a quick audio test. Baba Booey, Kashui. Okay, I think I've sound good. All right. We're jumping into our first story. It happened again, and I'm scared now. A while back, I made a post talking about experiences that I've had since childhood that seemed to defy explanation, and other Reddit users suggested that I was experiencing A while back, I made a post talking about experiences that I've had since childhood that seemed to defy explanation, and other Reddit users suggested that I was experiencing epileptic seizures. I've gone to the doctor, and they weren't able to find anything wrong with my brain, and my blood work came back normal. They noted that the incidents went way too far back in incident frequency to be epileptic seizures. We don't know what's going on. Central California. Dang. Cool. It's 9:30 in Australia. Perfect time for some stories. Cool, man. Cool. Well, let's just chill. Let's chat. I'll read some stories. All right. But about 2 months back, something terrifying happened. I've never had such an intense and real incident. I remember so much of it this time, too. And even now, before I've even explained what happened, I'm starting to sob and get goosebumps, but I don't really know why. I've never had such an intense response. I know this will sound crazy, but here it goes. I was damn. Cool. Like burped or something. I was sitting on my couch after a nap one early morning while home with a relative of mine and my dogs. It was my day off. All of a sudden, I felt a very weird shift in the room. Something felt off. This was my house, but there was still something uncanny about it. As I looked into the kitchen area that leads to the master bedroom, I noticed it get longer, kind of like that scene in The Matrix with the blank room and the dude began to shift. It became much larger than normal, and all around me the colors started to become muted. Eventually, I noticed the furniture in the house began pointing toward the door. The legs of the chair, the couch arm area, the cabinet doors in the kitchen, even the lamp all began pointing to the door. I began to get scared, so I called out to my cousin in the other room to come out. I waited for a few moments and repeatedly raised my voice each time and called out to him again. But I got nothing. I was screaming bloody murder so hard that my voice began to hurt. I still got no response. He had to have heard me? He had to have heard me. Oh my God, you're the face behind the glitch in the Matrix stories. Yeah. Yeah. I've been listening to you on my walks every day for the last 2 weeks. You're awesome, and I'm glad to know you're not AI. Trust me, thank you. Some days I wake up and I'm like, fuck, man. Am I AI? Who prompted me? Let's read prompted me, actually. All right. Yeah. Happy you're all here. Thanks, Chris, for saying that. He had to have heard me. The walls here are thin. I did the same for my pets, too, and I got the same results. I began to freak out. I called my mother at her work and I told her that something was wrong, and it was her voice. I felt relieved for a moment, thinking I must just be having some weird, hallucinogenic break from reality. But what my mother said scared the crap out of me. She asked if I did all I could do to figure out what was going on, and I told her yes, but then she replied, "Have you tried opening the door?" I hadn't mentioned the door to her, and my spine shivered. I got shaky and scared, and another voice came into the phone, but it was that error message voice that you get when a call doesn't go through. All she kept saying was, "Open the door." I began to sob loudly. I hid under the covers, and I kept shouting, "This isn't real. This isn't real. This can't be real." Then I heard voices and sounds of machinery. I was so freaked out, I was so freaked out, I called the emergency number, and I was so scared that I was so freaked out that I was, oh man. Cool. I was so scared. I was hoping that if the cops showed up, it would be a sign that this was all in my head. Maybe they could take me to a hospital. I called, and the first thing the operator said was, "You should try opening the door. Look what's inside." And then I heard this mocking laugh. and I threw my phone against the wall and I hid underneath the covers once again. Many memories start to flood back now. I'm in a white, sterile room. Something's being done to me. I only catch brief glimpses from what I remember, but honestly, I don't want to remember. I began cycling through my life again, as if I were physically there, back at certain points of my life. And all I could do was rock myself back and forth until I fell asleep. When I woke up, everything was back to normal. My phone showed no calls to the cops or to my mother, but I know I made those calls. Now, recounting this has begun to sob. Now, telling you this story, I've begun to sob in fear and I'm getting goosebumps just retelling it. Please, someone tell me they've been through something similar. I'm so scared. I don't understand what's happening and why it was so vivid this time. The only other time something this real happened was in kindergarten, when I launched myself from the swing set and I got stuck in the air for around 2 minutes while the world around me froze. Other strange occurrences include me being pulled up in the middle of the night by what I can only call my soul. I would begin to feel rapid spinning and a very scary feeling, and I was on top of my sleeping self. I could go anywhere in real time instantly, and it felt so real. I'm not religious, and I don't believe in ghosts or spirits, but this scares me because I can't explain it. Boom. We're off to a good start. Yeah, it is a freaky story, kind of like a trap, man, you're right. Yeah, hit my mic. Do I have any memories from kindergarten? Yeah. Yeah, I have 2 memories. Like the kindergarten that I went to, you got to pick if you wanted to be, they were half days, and you got to pick if you wanted to be the first half, the AM class, or the PM class, right? And I remember being my kindergartner self going, I want the PM class so I can sleep in. Which is just so on brand for me at the time. Now I'm a morning person. I kind of had to be because I had my own kids. Billy says, I listened for over a year or 2 before I saw your face. I'd never pictured a face when listening, and it felt like a glitch in my reality to see the magician behind the voice. Uh-oh, was this a mistake to go on Facecam? Am I going to throw a bunch of people off? No, man, I just wanted like a new way to connect with you guys, you know what I mean? Plus, you know, if you're sleuthy enough, you can search for Derek Weber on YouTube and other things will come up that have my face in them. And that's fine. I'm cool with that. But yeah, this is what I look like, I guess. Where was I? Yeah, in the second kindergarten memory, I had a crush on this girl. And I don't remember her name, but she looked like Princess Jasmine from Aladdin, and I think that's why I had a crush on her, because she looked like, you know, the girl from the movie, right? But she, when we were sitting down at story time, there's probably 10 of us in the class, I think, I don't know, and I swear I heard her fart, and at that moment I was like, I don't like you anymore. I no longer have a crush on this Princess Jasmine impersonator. And then I learned how to draw on the lines. When I fell over, where's that coming from? I just saw a comment from Laura, I think. But it's not showing up. in my chat stream here. Laura says, whenever I fell over and hurt myself as a child. Yeah, I couldn't catch that. I don't know. Did you delete the comment, or am I just... Yeah, I'm not seeing it. It's not being shown. Georgia Sky says, you look just like what I pictured you in my mind while listening all this time. Cool. Nice. You little freak. You know what I look like already? Cool. All right, what is next? Let's keep going. Oh, a doppelganger story. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Doppelgangers at work, dude? Hell yeah. Well, Laura says, no, I didn't delete it. It was a memory of mine from being at primary school. Well, for sure. I think I understand like the sentiment of the comment, the sentence you shared, but it didn't show up in the chat stream. It's like it showed up here on the chat thing, but it doesn't last forever, but it's not showing up in the part where I can keep track of them. But if I'm taking some context clues, you fell and hit your head as a kid, and then you had a bunch of memories come back from childhood. That's weird, man. That's crazy. It's got to mean something, right? All right. I can see it. Glitch! It's a glitch! Ah, everybody run! The doppelganger. This is a true story that happened to me when I was around 11 years old. And this isn't even the scariest encounter that's happened to me, but it is the first time I've seen something like this with my own eyes. For some background, I've always lived in haunted houses ever since I was a child, but this Missouri house was completely different. Unlike my previous house in California, where I only heard creepy things, like footsteps going up the stairs, in the attic, and toys going off by themselves, and voices, as well as seeing things move on their own, I've never seen anything like this until I moved to rural Missouri. It was in the middle of the day. My best friend, Jillian, and I were hanging out inside my clubhouse that my parents built for me in the backyard. There was a lower and an upper deck. The lower deck was smaller, and it had wooden window shutters that you could open from the inside or the outside of the clubhouse. While we were in the lower deck, playing on our 3DSs, Jillian told me that she had to run over to feed her cats real quick, and she just lived next door. So basically, I told her to... Fuck. When listening, I think I was expecting more of a Mozart, but you're definitely more Metallica vibe, and that's always the best surprise. Mozart, what do we mean by that? Is it because I got a bunch of crap on my shirt and tattoos? Is that what's giving Metallica? Or were you imagining me, with long gray hair and, those curls on the side and, a weird little ponytail in the back? So basically, I told her to do her thing and I'd be waiting inside the clubhouse. About 3 minutes later, Jillian comes rushing over to the window shutters, opening them from the outside suddenly and frantically. I looked over at her and I asked her what she was doing, But there was no response. She just stared at me, blankly. Not to mention her face was completely gray. I thought she smeared Halloween makeup on her face or something, so I just told her to get in here. She then slams the shutters closed again from the outside, and I saw through the cracks of the wood her... She then slams the shutters closed, and I saw through the cracks of the wood her run off behind the clubhouse without a word. I was confused. I wasn't sure if she was playing a... I was confused. I wasn't sure if she was playing a prank on me or what, but it didn't raise any alarms for me at the time. I opened the front door. Damn, I'm clearing my throat way too much. I opened the front door to the clubhouse just to peek around to see where she went, but she was nowhere in sight. I then look over to her house next door to see her just now leaving her front door. No gray face paint, just her normal-looking self. After seeing that, it shook me to my core. I was too scared to be at my clubhouse anymore, so I ended up hanging out at her house instead for the rest of the day. Who did I see? And what did I see? Doppelganger, doppelganger. This must be a glitch in itself. Cause why? Cause why, brother? Alright, I think this is a Vardoger story. I think, based on the title. Does anybody know what a Vardoger story is? You've got such a controlled and calming voice. Thank you. I think I was picturing demure. Oh, no. Dude. Nothing demure about this, baby. Nothing. I mean, yes, excuse me, I'm very demure. Yes, don't you forget it. I went to school for radio and television. And, ever since, like, puberty, I guess, I've always been told that, like, man, your voice is, you got a cool voice, man. You should do something with that. So I was like, cool, man. And then I just started, like, in my free time just mimicking news anchor voices, Tonight in Denver, Colorado, and just stupid stuff like that, I went to school for radio and television because I did want to be a news anchor. And I even interned at a couple of different local news stations in town. But just ended up doing something else. But, the voice never changed. I still sound like this, and I still, use the things that I learned in the radio and television, educational part of my life. I still use those today. So, I don't know. I'm probably just able to turn it on and off, like when I'm from the South, but I don't have an accent, and you'd never know. And part of that is because we moved around a lot, but also maybe it was trained out of me. I don't know. Very demure, very mindful, very cutsy. Because you're reading and my brain seems to be unable to comprehend watching you speak. I know it's weird. It's gonna feel... it's weird, right? If you've been listening to me for any amount of time and now you get to see me all of a sudden, your brain has to go, wait a minute, hold on. Let's link these two things real quick, and that's hard. I understand that. All right. Where was I? Let me keep messing with something real quick. I do have here's kind of a funny, maybe relevant story. I do have ChatGPT. I use that on occasion just to, like, I don't know, practice stuff. And yesterday, me and a coworker were arguing about, not arguing, but we were debating about where does this come from? So the context is most of my favorite fun facts are, for example, if you were to take every person on Earth and stack them, head to toe, from the Earth all the way to the moon, most of them would die. Right? Duh, because they're in space and there's no atmosphere. This is so dumb. And another fun fact that I love is if you took, your average blue whale out of the ocean and you laid him on a basketball court, it would die. I don't know. I just that punch of, shit at the end just makes me laugh. So anyway, coworker goes, well, if you stacked everybody, feet on shoulders all the way straight up, how many people do you think you could hold? And I said, I don't know, like 5 people, I guess. And she was like, no, that can't be right. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, and I just asked the question, how much weight could I hold before it would fatally crush me? Expecting to get an answer like, great question. Here's what you might expect, but the answer that I got was, I'm sorry you feel that way. And then it gave me a bunch of, like, resources and phone numbers to call and ask for help because it thought I was wanting, to be crushed. So stupid, dude. Mean Girls, October 3rd? Oh yeah, that's right. Gosh. It's October 3rd. All right, this one's called We Heard My Sister Come Home, but She Never Did. I've been getting a lot of comments in my videos lately about people are getting bored of the missing items stories, which I get, right? They all are very similar. But if you're active in the chat right now, let me know what you think. I could replace those with, like, a different kind of story, anytime I come across one, I could just kind of, go on to the next and cut those out entirely or replace them with something else. I got a few ideas. I just wanted to run that past you guys in the chat and just kind of get your thoughts on it. How are you feeling? If you're a regular listener, are the lost item stories doing anything for you? Let me know. Yeah. They would die. It's not funny. But that's the kind of dark humor that I like. I don't like really, like, sadistic, just, gnarly dark humor. But if you end a fun fact with they would die, that just gets me every time. All right. Was this the Vardoger? We heard my... Fuck. I've messed up already, dude. Did I see a Vardoger? Did I see a Vardoger? Yesterday, something really strange happened to my mom and my sister, and I don't know if it was a coincidence or an actual glitch in the Matrix. I was at work between 1 and 2 p.m. when my mom texted me that she was going to have lunch with my sister. We chatted back and forth until she stopped replying. Later that afternoon, when I got home, she told me the weirdest thing. She said I was in her bedroom, Now, for some context, our apartment is laid out like this. When you enter, there's the living room and the dining room, then a hallway with the kitchen, my bedroom and my sister's empty bedroom, and then finally at the end is my mom's bedroom. From her room, you can only see the hallway. While she was in her room, she clearly heard my sister come in through the... While she was in her room, she clearly heard my sister come in. She heard the front door opening, the keys jingling, the sound of her purse and jacket being dropped onto the chair next to the door. Even the cats sleeping on my mom's bed woke up and ran out to greet her like they always do. But nobody ever walked down the hallway. My mom eventually gets up to greet her, but there was nobody there. Later, my sister told us her side of the story. Around noon, she had texted my mom about having lunch together. She left her phone on the bed while she went to shower and get ready, and when she came out, the phone was gone. She tore her entire place apart looking for it. She moved the bed, she stripped the sheets, and checked every single corner. She even used Find My iPhone, but it only showed it somewhere in her apartment. She got so frustrated, she called her boyfriend on Discord from her PC to ask if maybe he'd accidentally taken it, but he hadn't. After about an hour of crying, she checked her room one more time. And there it was. The phone was now lying right in the middle of her bed, completely in plain sight, as if it had been there the whole time. When my mom told me about the door and the keys and the cats running to greet someone who wasn't there, and then my sister told me about the phone disappearing and reappearing, I joked that maybe the parallel universe version of my sister didn't lose her phone, managed to leave on time, and actually came home for lunch. Jokes aside, it's still a bit unsettling. What do you guys think? Was this a glitch in the Matrix? Oy. Virgo says we like the duplicate item stories. Yeah, duplicates are cool. That's a little different though. So for example, a bunch of stories come to mind where this lady, for example, she bought this very specific pair of leggings that she's confident she only owns one pair of these. They're so unique, and even when she went back out to find a second pair, either because she liked them so much or because the first pair were getting a little bit worn, it's like they just were discontinued. They stopped making them. So she was just, resided to this fact of only having one pair of her favorite leggings until they just deteriorate. That is until she's just doing laundry one day on a random Tuesday, and she pulls the clothes out of her dryer, and now there's two of those leggings with identical wear marks, same stitching, everything. Those are duplicate item stories. I like those. Those are very cool. But what I want to know for the stories where the people are like, man, like for example, well, there was an element of the lost item in this story, and that is, I looked for my phone everywhere. I turned my entire room upside down. I took apart my bed. I dismantled my dresser. I also just find it funny when people go to such great lengths to look for something. I pulled out every pair of pants for my dresser, and I pulled out all the pockets. Anyway, so her phone was lost for a little bit in this story, but then she goes to do something, and then she comes back, and the phone is just there in the middle of her bed that she was probably just laying on and, messing with sheets on. So those kind of lost item stories. Where are we at on those? Billy says, save them for one long marathon episode so people who hate them can skip it, but the rest of us can get a long episode to rejoice over. Nice. I think with some of those lost item stories, Laura says the items are right there in front of the person, but the brain isn't seeing it. I've had that happen to me so many times, it's so annoying. Okay, yeah, for sure. Joshua Lynn says, low-key tired of the lost item stories. I feel you. But I'm just an intense person in general, so I always loved the intense stories. The lost item stories are all but intense. Yeah, those are some of like the most low-key, low-stakes stories. I mean, you can have people, like for example, a couple of stories ago, the doppelganger story where, I assume this little girl was just in her clubhouse and then she looks up and sees her friend look through the window, but she looks a little different and doesn't say anything and it's really creepy. And then she goes out to investigate and she sees her friend is now coming out, which is her neighbor, if you forgot, which is now coming out of her front door with no gray face on. That's a little more high stakes than it is, oh, shoot, I lost my earbuds and then I found them an hour later. Like, I don't lift the curtain a little bit here. I do not read stories about lost AirPods or lost vapes because when you've read one of them, you've read all of them, dude. Now, I'll break that rule for things like lost articles of clothing or phones, I guess, But there's just something about losing your AirPods for 2 weeks and then having the magic. I don't know. And maybe it's just an AirPod thing or it's a vape thing. I just don't give a shit. It's probably a me thing. But yeah, Joshua Lynn is right. They are it's very not intense, very low stakes. But then again, do people listen to the channel for super intense, riveting stuff? I don't think everybody does. Angel says, if I could just duplicate my snacks, that would be great. Yeah. Nice. I've been doing that. Greg says, I've been doing that, trying to find my Godzilla and Bond movies. I still can't find them after 2 months. You know what you got to do, Greg? After years of reading Glitch in the Matrix stories, here's what you do. If you have a cat, you shake it down because it's hiding your stuff. You sit that cat down in an investigation chair and you shine a bright light on him and you make him talk. No, not really. What you really have to do, the real advice is just consider replacing them. Have the thought of going onto Amazon or going to like a secondhand store or whatever and just spending a little bit of money to buy new versions of those things. As soon as you do that, the original items will come back. Yeah, Joshua Lynn likes the doppelganger stories. Yeah, me too, man. Same. I had a whole episode that was just doppelganger stories, and that one was so fun. Advice by Derek. Billy says, I have ADHD, and I lose all my shit, and it will reappear in the freezer, so I'm not sure I'd notice if anything actually glitched. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have ADHD too. I'm one of those guys that's like, not diagnosed, but pretty sure. Remote control in the fridge? Yeah, dude. Yep, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a normal ADHD, attention focus thing. Putting something in the fridge like your car keys or the remote control. What's problematic and what we really need to, beware of is if you see your car keys or the remote control in the fridge, if you remember you doing that and you go, oh, I did put them in there. God, I'm so silly. I hate my ADHD or whatever it is. That's fine. That's normal. But when it becomes, when the scenario is you seeing your car keys or your remote in the fridge and you don't remember putting them there, that's where we have a problem. That's where we have to look inward and be like, okay, what's really happening here? Is it, dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever if if we're old? Or is it something a little bit scarier if we're younger? Greg says, unfortunately, I had to put my cats in a shelter for a bit while we moved, The goal is to get them back. Nice, man. Hopefully very soon for you, Greg. Let me edit a little bit. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see this? So it's hard for me to talk and edit at the same time, but I gotta edit. So I can put that on screen for you guys. And if anybody has any questions about the process of doing this, feel free to ask, man. I will answer you, probably. No, I can edit later. So yeah, so that's what the clicker's for. Yes, that's exactly right, dude. Look at this thing, dude. Look at this. So when I flub up a line and you hear me hit the clicker like that into the mic, that's what it does. Look, so you can see all of my waveforms. This is just what it looks like when I talk. However, we have these giant spikes here and here and here and here. And so if I zoom out, I can see every single one of my mistakes. So I can go in there and laser pinpoint. Okay, so there's a clicker right there. I know that the line before it was fucked up. So the line after it is probably the better one. I just grab it. And then I move it. Well, I talked a lot to the chat during that, so it's, I don't know, it's hard. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So now I just got rid of all those, like, the talking parts where I was talking, you know, with you guys. And I just move that audio right back there to where it sounds good. And I'll do it again here. Boom. Add a little crossfade right there so there's no popping sounds. And we're golden, dude. We're so golden. And yeah, this is what my recording software looks like. Up here, and I wish I could find a way to show you guys what it sounds like. Oh, you thought Oh, you thought you were just using it instead of an expletive? No, that's funny though. That is good. That's funny. Oh, Emmett. Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, Sin Eater's here. Hell yeah, dude. What up? Good morning. Yeah, no, we were. So here's the latest. I've recorded 3 Glitch in the Matrix stories. I'm kind of half-ass editing them right now, and I'm showing everybody what it looks like. And so the clicker, Sin Eater. I don't know if you're hip to the clicker or not, but it's, you know, that guy. I know you know what it is. But that makes these like wave spikes in my audio form that are really easy to spot. So when I'm zooming out and I'm editing the stories, I don't have to listen from start to finish for my mistakes. I just look for the spikes and then I fix them. And it's super helpful. And then Laura was saying that she thought it was me just not wanting to swear, I think. So instead of using like an actual cuss word, I would just click, which got me. Hey, no way, dude. Cool. All right, so what is this? Sin Eater gifted 5 memberships. That's cool. Thank you so much, lady. That's awesome. Angel got one. Super Saiyan Sosa got one. Angela got one. Ben G got one. Liz got one. That's amazing. So what does that do? For now, that does... It gets on the YouTube side of things, it gets early access. So I'll put episodes up a day or more early with no ads, for the channel members. I'm familiar with a clicker from Boozer Stream. Yeah, for sure. Ask him where he learned it from. I do intend on putting more exclusive stuff out. It's just a matter of carving out time to do that, and that's going to be hard this quarter, especially because we got October. A bunch of my Scary Story homies are coming out of the woodwork, wanting to do collabs, and have me send them stories and lines for stuff they're working on, and and then after that it's Thanksgiving and Christmas, at least in America. So it's, yeah. Anyway, thank you for those. What the fuck are they called? Membership gifts. That's awesome, dude. Thanks so much. Where were we? There we are. Let's keep reading. I'll edit this later. It's not crazy urgent. Oh, and somebody said they liked the colors too. Yeah. Those are, I don't know, kind of on brand. Like, you can make the colors be anything you want. You know what I mean? Like, I can make my microphone be red, or this weird yellow, orange, warm yellow color. But I like to make, this is so cheesy, dude, but I like anytime there's vocals, because I also run a recording studio for like bands and stuff, and I have for over a decade now. Damn. But anytime we record vocals, they're always green. And that's because that's where the money is. It's in the vocals. And that green trend just carried over to my, glitch recording thing. The microphone is green because that's where the money is. But then I made the rain track blue, and I made like, oh damn, again, dude, I wish I could find a way to play what's inside my audio software and have you guys hear it. I just am so dumb, I cannot figure it out. I wonder if I go into properties, output. Is that doing anything? Mm-mm. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Whoop. Do we have two of me now? Ba. I don't know, I can't figure it out. I cannot figure it out. Yo, D! What up, Kev? Yeah, so anyways, I guess I could show you guys, because you end up... Am I still? I still don't have an echo, do I? No, I shouldn't. Oh, my crap looks good. Morning, Sean. Nice to see you, sir. Again, I was just trying to find a way to let you guys hear what's really going on while I'm recording and break down the audio. I've got a rain track here that's just a loop. It's how long is it? It's 2 minutes and 22 seconds. And I just copy and paste that bad boy for about 45 minutes. That's the blue thing. That's just the same 2.5 minutes of rain looped over and over again. This is like the high end of the ambience. It's a bunch of Repulsive audio. He makes super dark, introspective, kind of sad, kind of melancholic, but still thoughtful, like music, and it's all copyright free. You just gotta tag them in your thing. So this is a Repulsive song, another one. All these are just different, Repulsive tracks that I just kind of basically build out a playlist and just play. And then this top one here, this top pink one, that's the low end. Oh, let me show you this. So this is an equalizer. It's an EQ. In I don't know. This is not a fucking audio production class, I know, but so right now, this is what the repulsive track looks like on the equalizer. If I bring this high cut back, it shows more low end. Or it doesn't show, but it like plays more low end. But I can filter the low end, the bass, out of the repulsive tracks by moving that to the right that way. That way you're really only getting like the mids and the highs of the repulsive track. And not even the highs, dude, because I've got this little cut right here so that my voice and the repulsive track aren't fighting each other. So I duck down like where my vocal range is on the ambience so it's not clashing with my actual speaking voice. And since I cut the lows, the bass of the repulsive tracks, I have a second track up here. It's just another loop that I got from YouTube. It's 6 minutes long. And I just loop that sucker over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times to fill, like the 45-minute episode or whatever. And that's just the bass. So there is some high end happening in this ambience, but I'm cutting it out. So what's really going on is I have one scary Sean, order a pizza, put a half gallon of gas in the car, or buy a paperclip. The world's most expensive paperclip. Whatever you can do with $20 these days. Thanks for doing what you do and sharing it with us. Thank you, Sean. Sean's been one of the most supportive, homies since day one. I remember maybe 1 or 0 other people that have been with me since the beginning other than Sean. He's a true ride or die. Thank you, buddy. Back to this. So I've got 2 different ambiences, and they're both copyright free, so I'm not like fucking with anybody. But the top one here is just the low end. It's just the bass. And again, I fucking wish I could find a way to show you guys. I'll figure it out. But what it does, since you're hearing the high end of the repulsive ambience and the low end of this other ambience, they're not connected. They're doing very different things. So in your head, it just feels, and if I'm rambling, tell me to shut the fuck up, but it feels really disjointed and a little disturbing and a little unsettling, because when you're listening to a piece of audio, normally the bass is kind of following along what everything else is doing. But not here. The bass is doing its own thing. It's its own living, let me come back here. It's its own living entity. And it is not at all married to or doing anything related to what the high end of the repulsive tracks are doing. So it almost feels like it's, again, they're like 2 living things. And the fact that they don't ever jive and they don't ever harmonize or whatever, I think that just adds to the unsettlingness to the overall audio landscape. And then you have the rain, and then you got me that just kind of sits on top of everything and fucks it up. I have time for one more. Yeah. Insert below. How do we feel about dream stories? John says, thanks, Angel. I don't think I've been with D since exactly the very beginning, but day 1-ish. That counts, buddy. That counts. I remember when I first started, I was doing a lot of scary stories. It wasn't all just, like glitch stuff. Honestly, because that's what As the Raven Dreams was doing. I was a big fan of Corpse Husband and Let's Read, and As the Raven Dreams, he was on my radar as well. And I learned a lot from him, and he gave me a bunch of resources and a bunch of guidance and, a bunch of stuff. And I pretty much just copied what he was doing, you know? What was the point of this? I had a point. But anyways, I guess another tangent. I just noticed an overwhelming number of comments that were like, man, your voice is so good for Glitch in the Matrix stories. Specifically, like dozens of people were like, man, I could listen to you tell Glitch stories all day. And I'm like, well, okay, I use the same voice for ghost stories, for true crime stories, for you name it. And then I started to do more glitch-themed videos, and they started to do very well, exponentially very well. This might be like an exaggeration a little bit, and it probably is, but I would do a glitch video, and it would be a 1 out of 10. It would be the top-ranked video for the last couple months. And then I would do like a ghost story video after that. And that would be the opposite. It would be the lowest ranked video for the last couple months. And that happened over and over and over again. And I was like, you know what? Let me just blast out a bunch of glitch videos consecutively just to see what happens. And then I never stopped. Yeah, nobody's seen Raven's face. His whole face. Oh yeah, that was right. Thank you, Sean. I still think I might be the only one that calls you D-Rock too. That's never quite caught on. That's okay though. I like the uniqueness. Yeah, me too, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, so that was the point. When I first started, I ended up on Scary Story Narrator Twitter, which is a thing, and I got picked up by Raven, a bunch of people, dude. Raven, why don't I remember any of these? Lady Spookaria, Miss Creepy Tales, the Sandman, too. A bunch of people just like caught on, and they're like, "Hey, dude, let's get you on the channel just for some exposure." So, of course, I said, "Hell yeah, brothers!" And because the scary story community was so inviting to me, and I feel like they like pulled me over, you know. I don't know if you guys are wrestling fans or aware of the term pull me over, but that means like getting you on top, like letting you win. You know, for example, if there's two, we all know wrestling is scripted, right? That's not a surprise to anybody. Like, for example, if we got like an Undertaker, right? And then we have like this new guy who's like a babyface, not many people know him. Well, if it's in the script that he beats the Undertaker, that's the Undertaker. He's pulling him over. He's like getting him on top. He's letting people know, oh, this dude's legit. He's the real deal. Anyway. So anyway, yeah, where was I going? So basically the community pulled me over by being so nice to me and by, inviting me onto their channels immediately, quickly as well. That was just super cool. And although Sean's not a scary story creator, narrator, whatever, he still is one of my most consistent, oldest, loyal homies. So there's the tie-in there. I think you might be the only person who shows devotion to glitch stories, and that sets you apart in a great way. Yeah, thanks, dude. There was a channel called... fuck it doesn't matter. I don't like that anyway. I will give them no attention. Never mind. I'll just take that compliment and say thank you, Sean. Thank you, buddy. I do like the glitch stories, and I do agree with some of the sentiments, like the lost item stories are getting a little bit old, buddy. I know what's going to happen before it happens. It's some of that is happening, but it's all good. Where was I going? I feel like Derek has one of those voices where I could stay calm while trying to put together IKEA furniture. Nice, yeah. Yeah, if any of you ever go to IKEA and you bring something home that requires assembly, which you will, just put me on. You will not throw any of those extra Allen keys that all those things come with, you will not throw them across the room, I promise. Billy says, not real? I don't know what that means. Billy says, I loved learning the lore and that the spooky creators know each other and support each other. Very cool. Yeah. Sean says, he's not a narrator, true, but he is a huge fan of scary stories and the creators. I think fandom is the best place for me. Me and Raven are the best at glitch stories? Thank you. I agree. That sounded so self-centered and egotistical. It was really a dig at this other channel that I'm just trying not to name because they switched to an all AI voice. Whatever. Oh, Kevin, you were talking about wrestling. Okay, got it. Yeah, fake. It's still real to me, damn it. Man, I'll never forget that dude. I don't have time to read another story, but I can chat for another minute. Literally another minute. Right, yeah. I forget, you guys may not know, but there's like a 20-second delay, and when I am speaking and you are hearing it, there's probably something in my settings that'll let me adjust that, but if at any point, not if, but when at any point I'm saying something and then you reply to it and I'm like, what are you talking about? What is he saying? It's because it's been 20 seconds and I forgot what I said. Hey, do I know Kinetic Symphony? Yeah, I do. Reached out. What's his name? Paul? Yeah, I reached out to Paul just by email a few weeks ago just to kind of let him know I exist and that we're doing the same thing. And I don't know if I mentioned maybe working together or not, but I did say hi, and he replied back. He was nice. He was like, yeah, cool, nice to meet you, man. I hope you have a good week or whatever. And then that was it. So there wasn't... Paul? Okay, yeah. His platypus is named Dave. Yeah. So yeah, Kinetic Symphony and we know each other. Oh yeah, and then somebody else a minute ago said, it's cool that... I think it was Sean. It's cool that all of the horror narrators know each other. Yes, dude. Yes, I love the shit out of that. I think it's so cool. I really admire the crap out of that, man. And I remember somebody asked, and again, I don't know if it was Sean or somebody else, but like a long time ago, the question was, why do all of you collaborate so much? You'd think that you would all be each other's competition. And I think this was asked on a live stream that I was on, and the answer was, yeah. The answer was, no, dude, we're not competitions. We are companions. Because a rising, what's the phrase? A rising tide carries all ships. You know what I mean? So, yeah, as human beings with emotions... Greg, you love the Shadows series? Thanks so much, dude. I adored... I started that project in December of 24, and it didn't get... We didn't actually go live with it or publish it until July of 25, dude. So that was a good 7 months of just developing and prepping and organizing. But anyways, getting back to the collaborators... A rising tide lifts all boats? Sure, yeah. You get the sentiment. So one of the perspectives is, you know what, man, if I bring another narrator on to read a story with me and on my channel, I don't lose an audience member. Nobody in their right mind is going to be like, oh man, Derek was the only narrator I knew existed, and now that I know this other person exists, I can't listen to Derek anymore. Gross, unsubscribe. And then they go subscribe to this other, to my guest, in the moment and just only listen to them. That's not how people work, dude. They now have two people that they're aware of that they can listen to for things like scary stories. And then you multiply that by 3, 4, 5, 100 narrators. Now your pool becomes so much bigger. And yes, audience members are going to pick and choose their favorites, of course. But dude, no, we're not competitors. We're companions. We're teammates. There was another layer to that too. Oh yeah, and on a human emotional level, it is almost impossible for a creator to look at another creator's subs and be like, "Oh no, they have more than me." Or, "Man, they're growing faster than I was when I first started." Oh, it's hard not to do that. But in the end, dude, it literally doesn't matter. Like, those things don't matter to you at all. How fast somebody else is growing, or even if you zoom out, and we're not just talking about scary story narrators. If we zoom out and we look at life, friends, work, this person over here appearing to do better, faster than you, doesn't affect you at all. Period. We all have the resources to get better at whatever we want to get better at. YouTube, the internet, books, people who have done it before you. I'm in a half a dozen other narrators' chats weekly, asking them for like, "Hey, how'd you do this? What was the thought process behind this? How come your thumbnails look like this now?" And that's just to learn. And that's not even to be like, "Oh, cool, I'm going to do that now too." Like, if you saw Let's Read stopped putting text in his thumbnails for a little bit, I hit him up. I was like, "Hey, what's going on with that?" You know, just to try to learn where his thought process was and what he was hoping to achieve by not using text in his thumbnails anymore. And I wanted to learn what he was thinking. I did not want to learn why he was doing that so that I could do it too. I don't give a shit. But I just like learning about thought processes, and and what I learned was he was just running an experiment. He had 4 or 5 videos lined up, and every thumbnail had no text. And he was just kind of rolling the dice, seeing what happened. It wasn't because he read in an article somewhere that text is bad now and your views will go down if there's text in your thumbnails. That's obviously not true, but just experimentation, man. There's plenty of room on the top shelf. The Rock said that a bunch of years ago, and it's something that's just always stuck with me. There's plenty of room on the top shelf. I'm not saying I'm on the top shelf. Let's Read is up there. Mr. Nightmare is up there. B. Busta is up there, right? But that's not a 3-person shelf. That bitch goes all the way across the room. So many more people can fit up there. That's what I'm saying. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yes, absolutely. Momo says, "Nah, give me all the narrators. It just gives me non-AI creators to listen to." Yep. Amen, dude. Billy says, "I've found most of the creators through crossovers. I think I found Booze and Booze. You found Booze and Booze through me? Cool. Hell yeah, dude." Ben says, "Thanks for the membership." That was Lady Sin Eater. She's one of the most supportive, resourceful and just on top of it creators in this community, members in this community. And that was because of her, Ben. She gifted 5 memberships, and you grabbed one, brother. One fell upon you. All right. That's my time. I ran out of time to read stories because we just ended up chatting about a bunch of stuff. So sorry. We were leaving a concert the other night, and this car in the parking lot had Sowie, Sowwy, as their license plate. And I joked about it, and I said Sowie out loud, and I didn't realize his windows were down. So as he continued to drive on, he goes, "Sowie," right back to me. It was good. All right. Everybody, thank you. Love you. Gotta go.